Welcome, everybody. My name is Jeff McGinnis. I am the National Beverage Director for the WineStyles family of stores. We are excited once again to be featuring an awesome winery. Those of you guys that have been with us for a number of years might recall, I think it's been 4 years ago, maybe we featured J.Lohr. It was a great tasting event. Wines are super wonderful, so we reached out to them and lucky to have some amazing partners like them that stepped up very quickly, put together amazing lineup of wines to be shared with us tonight. As always, as you go through here, we ask that all the stores mute themselves. If you have questions from your local store, please type those in the chat. We'll be sure to try to facilitate those. We do encourage questions. Questions are good. They obviously help motivate us to answer some things, talking about history, geography, anything about the wines you have questions about, or even just observations about how amazing the wines are. Last thing, obviously the stores have the wines for sale. We've got to have a great pricing on them for you tonight and throughout the week as we sort of continue to promote these wines and move forward. So with no further ado, I'll turn that over to my partners here. I think, Cynthia, are you going to take the lead?
I'm happy to take the lead, Jeff. Thank you so much. I can
Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Well, firstly, WineStyles team and friends, thank you so much for having me today. I'm in sunny California, but my backdrop is actually our Buena Vista Vineyard in Paso Robles. So in our time together today, I am going to be taking you through our wine tasting list of wines. Very excited to share these with you and tell some stories, answer questions. I love to make this very, very interactive. I also want to thank my partner in crime, Josh Baldovino, running tech on the back end for us. He'll carry us through our slides. He'll pitch some questions to me, and I see that I've got my fabulous colleague, Doug Birch, chiming in from Chicago. So I just want to say, wherever you are, I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy. Thank you for moving mountains, some of you, to join us tonight. We know that it's inclement weather across the US. So just a little bit about me. I'm Cynthia Lohr, Chief Brand Officer and co-owner with J.Lohr Vineyards and Wines. This year actually marks my 22nd year with our business. I am a boomerang, however. I will tell you that I first joined in the late 80s before heading out to do some technology, PR, and marketing. I was very firm that I wanted to bring a fresh set of skills to the business. So I had the good fortune to work with companies like Yahoo, whom I launched in 1995 and then took them public a year later. And then Alexa Internet, the Alexa service that you know about. Amazon acquired that business in 1999. And then I went back to the agency side of things and then rejoined in 2001. So I like to think I've got a little bit of an informed palate, but I'm always learning, as we all are, which is why it's so important to have settings such as this to taste through the wines. Now, a little known secret, this next year marks our 50th year of incorporation and product. We have been family owned and operated for 50 years come next year, 2024. So stay tuned for some really fun celebrations that we look forward to involving you all in. And we started growing our grapes last year. It was 50 years. So my father, Jerry, in case you're unfamiliar with the J.Lohr story, my father, Jerry Lohr, comes from South Dakota. He hails from South Dakota. He's a South Dakota farmer. And he came out to California to get his almost PhD in civil engineering. And that's where he met my mother, who herself was a Manhasset transplant. They met at Stanford, fell in love, and we three kids were born later. So I am flanked by brothers. My older brother, Steve Lohr, is our Chief Executive Officer or CEO. My younger brother, Lawrence Lohr, is our Chief Operating Officer of the Vineyards. So you can see we're assembled right here in what Jerry loves doing best, and that's being out in the vineyards, being out checking on the status of the vines, tasting the grapes. This truly is Jerry's purpose. It's his lifelong passion as a man of the soil. But Jerry first cut his teeth as a builder developer in California's Silicon Valley area. He designed over 700 custom homes, a variety of shopping centers and condominium complexes. So he's had an illustrious career in the area, just really being very focused on creating beautiful homes for people. And then his building partner, Bernie Turgeon, was married to a French woman. And it was in their collaboration together in the building and development business that they found that they had this mutual love of wine. And that took Jerry first to Monterey County in California's Central Coast. So those were the very, very early days. Those were the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I remember being down there running around in the vineyards with my brothers as we started to begin to plant and assess the soil types and really just get a sense as to, okay, really, what is this all about? So some early photos here, and thank you, Josh, for your intuition. So that lower right-hand corner photo, my father will always say is the most important photo because that's truly where it all began. So that's my late mother, Carol Waldorf Lohr, and then older brother Steve to your left, to my mother's right. I'm in the backdrop there with the bangs, and then brother Lawrence in the fore with Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. And this is what we call the shade house. This is where we nurtured young vines right there in Arroyo Seco in Greenfield. Oh, yikes, I'm dating myself. This was literally 50 years ago. So this is, as again, Jerry says, this is where it all began. And so part of what we bring to our business is not only that incredible respect for and understanding of, soil types, but it's our philosophy. Jerry always believed that you only want to plant varieties in the conditions that will reveal true varietal style. So some asked us early on, why California's Central Coast? Why Monterey County's Arroyo Seco? And for our first series of wines that we're going to taste through tonight, there is a tremendous methodology behind that. And it has to do with what we call sense of place. So in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco, it's really all about this confluence of the afternoon winds and the dry, very rocky soils. As a matter of fact, in that particular, what we call chular and loam soils, you often have very large potato-sized stones that we ended up calling greenfield potatoes or river stones. The large potato-sized stones actually absorb heat during the day and then radiate it out at night, which keeps the soil very dry and arid, forcing the roots to dive very deep into the soil to find irrigation. So the magic that happens in the vineyard in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco, again, the site of our first plantings, is that you've got cooling winds coming over from the Templeton Gap, shutting down photosynthesis and ensuring kind of a longer hang time for the fruit, but also ensuring this, what we call kind of tropical fruit flavors. So if you have your Chardonnay in front of you, I invite you to grab your glass, to raise it. Let's have a collective cheers. Cheers, everyone. Great to be with you. And I invite you to have your first sip. So without mistake, beautiful tropical notes on this Chardonnay. And right here on the valley floor is our Arroyo Vista vineyard. Now you'll find that throughout our time together, as I talk about the wines, I'm actually going to be telling you some of the origin stories about them as well. So I told you about the greenfield potatoes. I told you about the soil profile, the Templeton Gap winds coming through and shutting down photosynthesis. Now, Chardonnay was among our first varieties planted, and Jerry believed that Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay had the longest longevity from a historical standpoint. They were tried and true, and that's what really motivated him to plant those first two varieties. But he quickly learned that Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay in that cool, arid climate does not grow well side by side. So later he investigated Paso Robles. But we first had our debut vintage of what many know as our Riverstone Chardonnay in the J.Lohr Estates tier in 1987. And we didn't launch the J.Lohr Vineyards series tier, of which this wine is a part, until more than a decade later in 1998. And so this is 100% Chardonnay. You may ask about our barrel programs or our clonal selections. So most of this particular clonal blend behind the Arroyo Vista Chardonnay is what we call Clone 76, which is from our original Arroyo Vista block. And I'm curious for any of you, if you're inspired to share what flavors or aromas arise for you, I'll tell you what I'm getting from this wine. I love revisiting this wine time and again because I always find something new. So for me, I'm getting what we call beautiful kind of stone fruits. So a little bit of almost peach. I am getting some lovely kind of ripe pear, some apple. And then this really balanced citrus profile comes through, I think, for me. Just a little bit of lemon, almost like Meyer lemon, a little bit of tangerine. So Clone 17, which is also used in crafting our J.Lohr Arroyo Vista Chardonnay, has some what I'll call just kind of creamy and floral notes, like strawberry cream kind of notes. Very delicate, almost like white peach. It's a little bit of apricot. And I'm so seduced by this wine, you'll have to forgive me. So as we craft this wine, and it's Kristen Barnheisel's vision, Kristen is our winemaker of white wines, it really is to have so many different picks during harvest that we layer the flavors. And so Kristen has been with us now for 7 vintages, coming up on 8. And her description is lemon cream, baking spices with a little bit of minerality. And that minerality harkens back to a very classic style that we go for, very old world, very Burgundian in style, to have just, again, that certain level of minerality. At the same time, we never want to obfuscate the Chardonnay fruit. We want to let it speak for itself. So when we're determining what oak to use, when we're looking at oak profiles, it's always with the intention to not mask any aspects of acidity or fruit character, but to elevate the fruit and to round it out with a beautiful mouthfeel. So we use French oak barrels, approximately about 10 months in barrel, 45% of it is new wood. And we do source from over 17 unique coopers from all over the world. So imagine, of course, Hungary, France, American oak, different forests throughout France and Hungary and beyond. And that's because every cooper will offer a different level of toast, a different nuance. So we pay attention to those details as we truly dial in this wine. So a little bit of residual sugar, just about 0.21%, so very dry. And production is 20,000 6-bottle boxes. So to craft a wine of this delicacy and nuance, we created what we call a winery within a winery. And so our original winery, my father purchased the old Falstaff Brewery in downtown San Jose, which was quite convenient to his building and development business. That allowed us to truck in the grapes and produce wines right there in downtown San Jose. But we soon outgrew that footprint, as you can imagine, because in the early days, we were setting milestones around 100,000 cases, 250,000 cases. So our journey took us beyond Arroyo Seco, later on to Paso Robles, but I will speak to Paso Robles in just a little bit. So this remains a beloved staple in our portfolio. You can think of this, if you know Riverstone Chardonnay, you can think of this as, you know, the big sophisticated sister to Riverstone Chardonnay, whose flavor profile is actually similar in that kind of tropical, almost coconut, pineapple notes. You'll find that more active in the Riverstone Chardonnay. So the big sophisticated sister to Riverstone Chardonnay. So that's Arroyo Vista Chardonnay. Any questions that I can entertain at this juncture? All right. So Josh, if you wouldn't mind taking us back to some of the early slides, I wanted to elaborate on the 3 pillars of J.Lohr. So when your guests or your colleagues ask, what is unique and different about J.Lohr? There are 3 pillars that we stand by. They are family, place, and craft. So I talked about our J.Lohr family, our family of origin. And these slides, obviously, we're now at more than 48 years of ownership. I am co-owners with my my brothers and Jerry, and we hope to continue our business in perpetuity. But family for us is not just our family of origin or my family comprised of 2 grown daughters, 20 and 27, and my husband and me. But family really is what I call the constellation of accounts, such as all of you, distributors, brand ambassadors, friends, wine club members who have stayed faithful and loyal to us for 50 years. We thank you so much. The fact that you invited us into your family 4 years ago and now you're having us again, we're extremely grateful for the chance to share our story and our wines with you. So family is, again, just that wide swath of who has grown up with us, who has shared our story for so many years, enthusiastically so, and hopefully committed to do so for the long run. Another tenet of our 3 pillars of communication is place. So my father, again, had the good fortune to really just put down roots initially in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco. I love to share this map because this gives context for, once again, who we are as family wine grape growers in the central coast of California. So Monterey County, you'll see, is that mid-plot right there, just south of the Monterey Bay. Another distinguishing factor about growing in Arroyo Seco is what we call the Blue Grand Canyon that is exemplified by that Monterey Bay. What's unique about the Monterey Bay's Blue Grand Canyon is that it is actually 60 miles wide and it's 2 miles deep. What that does is that helps elevate really nutrient-rich waters from the upswell from that Monterey Bay. So it's really very dramatic in what it means to our vineyards in Monterey County. So you'll see here, this is a plot of both owned vineyards and also vineyard partnerships. And the Arroyo Seco AVA was actually established in, goodness, it was 1983. And my father had a great deal to do with that, seeing the potential of the area. But back to that slide, if you don't mind, Josh, I'd love to offer a peek into some of our key partnerships in the area. So We are located on the valley floor. So for any of you who have had the good fortune to come out to visit the area, so we our address actually for our third winery is Greenfield, right there, that little dot. So we have our home ranch vineyards. We have a partnership, the Griva and J.Lohr and the Costa and J.Lohr and Escoli Road, J.Lohr, primarily Sauvignon Blanc there. But we also grow in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco. We grow Pinot Noir. We grow Valdiguier, which is a little known grape variety, much like Gamay Beaujolais that we'll taste shortly. We also grow, let's see, oh, White Riesling, of course. And Viognier now. So very hospitable to the white grape varieties that really flourish in those conditions. So I'm going to take you now to the next wine in our tasting. This is our Bay Mist White Riesling. Now, Bay Mist White Riesling has actually been around for quite some time, but we made the decision a couple of years ago to repackage it. And our goal around the repackaging, I just love sharing this beautiful, beautiful bottle. Our goal in repackaging was to really help elevate the uniqueness of the conditions. Again, every fanciful name that we have named our wine after has some unique attributes about where we grow. So the Bay Mist White Riesling, you heard me talk about the Blue Grand Canyon. You heard me talk about the Templeton Gap winds coming over from the Monterey Bay. We decided to have this really robust and vibrant etching to both pay homage to our roots in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco, but to give fans a sense of what really is it like when you're out there. And we've got the iconic cypress tree on the bluffs, which is really indicative of kind of Monterey County's charm, and particularly the area of Carmel. So when we released this under the new packaging in 2022, we were so delighted to have incredible reception for, you know, what's kind of an old favorite. It really allowed folks to give it a new taste, a new sense of, you know, purpose. And to, again, just storytell around one of our early original wines. Now, this wine, as is the, let's see, you were drinking the 20, I don't know which vintage of the Arroyo Vista Chardonnay. I'm drinking the 2021, which happens to be California Certified Sustainable. As is all the wines in our lineup. Subsequent vintages for others are certified California Sustainable. But what's unique about that is, and currently 27 of our 41 wines are certified California Sustainable, as is our 4,000 estate acres. What this means is that 85% minimum of the grapes grown for that particular wine must be made in a certified California Sustainable winery, come from certified vineyards in order to qualify. So it's very, very exciting, this pursuit of sustainability that's truly part of our ethos. In fact, Jerry helped write the code of sustainable wine growing in concert with the Wine Institute back in 2003. So lots to talk about with our sustainability story and our journey, but let's get to this absolutely delicious wine. So Bay Mist White Riesling. So whereas the Arroyo Vista Chardonnay is classic Burgundian style with a little bit of minerality, this is going to have some very clear residual sugar to it. This actually is 98.5% white Riesling and 1.5% Pinot Blanc. We love our Pinot Blanc, and we actually have a varietal Pinot Blanc in our portfolio. But so for lovers of Bay Mist White Riesling, we actually, in this particular wine, wanted to ensure that we communicated on the back where we are in the scale of dry to sweet. So for any of you who actually have your bottle with you, if you turn it around and take a look, we're kind of at the midpoint of between medium dry and medium sweet, which speaks to this wine's incredible versatility. So you'll hear me talk throughout about our philosophy on acidity and tannins. This wine is no stranger to that. We wanted to, again, release the crisp, aromatic Riesling fruit that comes across as almost having a little bit of honeysuckle, some citrus, a little bit of lemongrass, which of course clearly makes it a fantastic accompaniment to Thai food in particular, to Hunan food, and a variety of different, very flavorful, vibrant ethnic foods. But I get a little bit of kind of peach, some almost green or pippin apple. And if anything comes up for anyone, I would love to hear your thoughts on what arises for you. So this comes from what we call FPS clone 10 that has an unknown origin, and then a German clone, FPS clone 17, that both have just a wide spectrum of aromas and flavors, which is what we're going for in a flavor profile. Once again, it's really to honor the land and the growing conditions, reveal this just beautiful, bright, crisp acidity, mask none of the fruit flavors, and just really let the wine speak for itself. I'm really curious, and you can chime in later. Would love to know if anyone has any really unique food pairings with that particular wine, since it is so different. So that is the Bay Mist White Riesling. So again, in 2022, and moving on to our next wine, again in 2022, we repackaged the Wildflower Valdiguier. Now, actually, we do have golden poppies, purple lupin growing as a ground cover there in Arroyo Seco, and it is beautiful in the springtime. From this vantage point, you won't see that, but honestly, it is so gorgeous in the spring to see all these gorgeous wildflowers. And so that was part of the essence, the spirit of Wildflower Valdiguier when we named it in the 90s. And it still is no stranger to being called by its fanciful name. Over my years with our wineries, I travel, many will ask, hey, are you still selling Wildflower? So it has its own kind of cult following, which is really very fun. And we thought for sure we were growing, Gamay Noir, Gamay Beaujolais, until Jerry had a UC Davis scientist come out and verify what the variety was. And we were a little shocked to find out that it was not Gamay Beaujolais and not Gamay Noir, but this little known grape variety called Valdiguier. So if you're a fan of this wine, go out and ask others who makes a Valdiguier. There are just a few that I know of, and I'm so focused on other wines in our portfolio, I can't name them at the top of my tongue, but there are a few other Valdiguier producers. But Valdiguier, why is this wine so beloved? So if you look at it in your glass, look at that beautiful, gentle, almost fuchsia, very lightly extracted, and then put your nose into it. Hopefully you have a slight chill on yours, but no worries if you don't. This almost this almost doesn't come across as wine. It's so unique and different. It's so vibrant in its flavor profile and so versatile. So again, at J.Lohr, we really look to craft wines that are incredibly food friendly and very versatile. And this wine, because of its screw cap, its beautiful package, its price point, we really want to encourage picnics and salads and light fresh fare and be out and about with this particular wine. We have also ventured into some very creative cocktails. So we invite you to check out our website, and Josh has been a tremendous mastermind behind some of these really innovative cocktails that we wine cocktails and unique pairings that we have on our At Home with J.Lohr portion of our website. But what's beautiful about the wildflower Valdiguier is that imagine how lovely this is with, say, Moroccan food, or foods with a little bit of spice and deep aromatics, because we have this really fresh berry fruit flavor, almost strawberry, a little bit of rhubarb. And we do what we call carbonic maceration. So no crushing or punching down for the first 2 weeks. So the skins get to essentially hang with the grapes, not be extracted, and just really have that beautiful marriage of skin and juice. So short, warm fermentation. And we always release this earlier than any of our other wines. So to really preserve the integrity of what is 100% Valdiguier, we mature it just 2 months in stainless steel, and then it's soon ready to go. So I have in my glass the 2021 J.Lohr Wildflower Valdiguier.
Cynthia, one quick question. Is this the grape that used to be called Napa Gamay? So obviously I mean, you even talk about it in very Beaujolais type of terms with carbonic maceration and all that fun things. But certainly maybe a little bit more history behind the Napa Gamay, as it used to be called in California.
Yes. So Napa Gamay, Gamay Beaujolais. So Napa Gamay, I believe, had its origins in Napa, hence the name Napa Gamay. But Jeff, terrific question. The origin actually of Valdiguier is from Southwest France. So where Napa Gamay takes over versus Valdiguier or Gamay Beaujolais, to my knowledge, all Gamay originates from France. The Napa Gamay, I apologize, I'm less familiar with, only because we are Central Coast wine grape growers, and so the bulk of our vineyards are Arroyo Seco and Paso Robles. But that's a terrific question, and I will investigate that and get back to you, because I think when you look at each variety's origin story, you want to understand what the intent was originally for those growers in Southwest France. So the fact that we've been able to migrate this beautiful wine over to California successfully, so after validating it, we'll continue to grow this for years to come. And kind of the crew of Beaujolais, like Morgon, Fleury, Moulin, Avant, are what's behind our style. So stylistically, we're really going for something that respects the original vision in Southwest France of Gamay. So great question. So for a red wine, just very soft tannins, not looking to have a high tannin profile. And then to preserve that delicacy, it's all hand harvested. So that is the beautiful Valdiguier. Now we are going to take you south to Paso Robles. So my father planted 9 original varieties in the early days in Barolo Seco, only to find once again that Bordeaux varieties did not grow well side by side with Burgundian varieties such as Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So what that led him to was to Paso Robles, where some of the most delicious red Bordeaux varieties were originating. So of course he did go to Napa, and we have a small plot of just about 31, 32 acres in Napa where we grow our Carol's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon by contrast, and named after my mother. But Jerry absolutely fell in love with the 50-degree temperature spreads over the course of a day, also known as diurnal temperature spreads. He fell in love with the volcanic, sometimes very ashy granite sediment soils in Paso Robles. He fell in love with the microclimates, of which there are now 11 known sub-AVAs in Paso Robles that help to storytell around the nuance in flavor profile in region 2 or 3, according to the Winkler scale. That means temperatures and wind patterns, precipitation. So this is our Paso Robles AVA. And if there was no further proof that J.Lohr is fanatical about planting varieties to their best soil types, I will tell you that we are home to over 40 distinct parcels. And as I mentioned, there are now 11 known sub-AVAs. J.Lohr grows in 5 of those sub-AVAs. So all the red plots, those are our owned vineyards. And if you've been down to Paso Robles, you know that it is about 45 by 25 miles spread. So it's very, very large, and it's about 60,000 acres planted to Cabernet Sauvignon. But here in Paso Robles, we grow in our various vineyards named Creston and Shotwell and Buena Vista, which is where I'm seated today, Jones, Sinclair, etc. In our various vineyards, we are known to blend a Cabernet from Creston with Cabernet from Shotwell and Cabernet from the Beck Vineyard, which sits at 1,700 feet elevation, again, to dial in the different nuances and flavor profiles that arise from these various districts. So just to review the districts, they are where we grow. It's the Estrella district, where you see some of our Pleasant Valley, Sinclair, Jones, etc. vineyards. San Miguel district, where you will see Snowden and Galbraith and Star, etc. To your far left, McCornack and Jean Vineyards, the Adelaida district, which is also home to some of our Rhone wines. But this area is significant given its proximity to the coast. Some of the highest precipitation we'll see in Paso Robles comes from the Jean Vineyard and the McCornack Vineyard, and that really dials in kind of a different flavor profile, a little bit more stringent tannin, a little bit of a vegetal characteristic almost. And then the El Pomar district, where you see Creston and Shotwell, it always seems to be incredibly warm down there. But some of our most amazing Cabernet and Merlot originates from the El Pomar district in Creston, which is a much warmer district in comparison to some of the more inland. And then the Creston district AVA in our Beck Vineyard. Now, Beck Vineyard is home to our iconic J.Lohr signature Cabernet Sauvignon, which was released on my father's 80th birthday. But let's start drinking some amazing wine. Let's pick up the Hilltop Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, Hilltop Cabernet Sauvignon, again in our J.Lohr Vineyards series tier, has been around since about 1998. And the goal here was to, again, focus on more select picks of Cabernet from distinct vineyards, though the original source for all hilltop Cabernet Sauvignon was this hilltop property. As we expanded the hilltop Cabernet Sauvignon, because it was just so good, we took off vineyard from the labels to open up the sourcing to pull from other of our vineyards. So all hand harvested. Much of the 2020 J.Lohr Hilltop comes from that prized Beck vineyard that I told you about, but also from Shotwell, also from Jean and McCornack. And because we are growers of Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot, Merlot, Cab Franc, Saint Macaire, so many others, Malbec, a veritable spice rack of varieties, we are able to dial it in vintage after vintage to be of consistent quality, regardless of what the vineyards give us. And that is the magic of the blend. So big brother, big sophisticated brother to Seven Oaks Cabernet, but as you taste through the Hilltop Cab, you will find some of those same characteristics that you may know and love in the Seven Oaks Cab. So this particular blend is 91% Cab Sauv, 4% Petit Verdot, 3% Malbec, and 2% Cab Franc. And what that allows us to do is that allows us to dial in aspects of, you know, the backbone of Petit Verdot that is just so strong and earthy, or some of the brightness of Malbec and Cab Franc. And what emerges is this incredibly, what I call juicy, just bright and juicy for a Cabernet Sauvignon. Just incredibly food friendly, very versatile, because no cloying acidity here, no overly structured tannins. It's all really beautifully balanced, integrated oak. So a little bit of information about this: 18 months in French oak, 58% is new wood. And our style with regard to tannins is really to integrate them softly, plushly, seamlessly into the wine. So our VP winemaking, Steve Peck, who has been with us since 2007 and with whom I was in New York just last week, pouring at the Wine and Spirits Top 100 and having various media appointments, his style is dense, soft, and never green. So you're not going to find a tannin profile that is too stringent. Again, it's going to be beautifully integrated, very plush, very soft, again, allowing the Cabernet to speak for itself, but to have enough of that depth to honor the food that it is paired with. So for a wine like this, I find this so incredibly versatile and balanced. I had this last week with, believe it or not, a duck meatloaf, and it was phenomenal. It cut through the fat of the duck beautifully and was just a perfect pairing. Now, when again are we going to find duck meatloaf? I do not know. I will attempt to master it on my own. But so again, that's the Hilltop Cab. And I should tell you that in order to craft these smaller lot wines, we have created what we call a winery within a winery. And so if you come down to Paso Robles and you come taste with us, we will take you on a climb through our catwalk to overview our 3-acre solar tracking array. We will show you our California irrigation management information system that provides data to 40,000 users across California. We'll take you on tours through our vineyards. But what we'll show you as well is the difference between 6 and 12-ton fermenters for some of these small lot wines versus our much larger production facility for our Seven Oaks Cabernet. So the winery within a winery allows us to exact some of the very specified nuance in our production techniques to ensure that we've got our hand on every facet of the creation of this particular wine. So that's the Hilltop. Now, I could drink Hilltop all afternoon long, but we have 2 more delicious wines to get to, and hopefully some questions and more storytelling before we conclude our time. So this next wine, J.Lohr Pure Paso proprietary red wine. So this is the new star in our portfolio. So the first release of this came out in 2019 with the 2017 vintage, and the unique dynamics of the 2017 harvest were that we had more delicious Petite Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon than we knew what to do with. And our sales folks had been after us for a while to create a red blend. And Jerry's response always has been, and I won't try to use his voice, but his response has always been, we created the original red blend. It's called Seven Oaks. And Seven Oaks, much like Hilltop and other of our red wines, always has this blend of, like I said, Malbec, Merlot, Cab Franc, or other. So with this incredible bounty of high quality Petite Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon, which are actually 2 of our earliest planted varieties there in Monterey County's Arroyo Seco, we decided to create a wine that really honors our deep roots in Paso Robles, thus calling it J.Lohr Pure Paso, and also to signify that Paso Robles is a secret no more. With the visitation that we're seeing in Paso Robles, with the creation of regional associations like the Paso Robles Cab Collective, of which Justin, J.Lohr, and Dow are the creators. I was on the board for 7 years before I termed off, and now Josh is very much involved. Paso is here to stay. And the reason being is that what we have emerging in Paso Robles is this incredibly fruit-forward, vibrant style, again, that comes as a result of the growing conditions. I earlier mentioned the 50-degree temperature spread, the diurnal temperatures, the granite and volcanic ash and sediment in the soils. These very arid situations result in very small berries or grapes, very concentrated, bold flavors that are very rich and ripe in their expression. So if you think of Cabernet fruit and you're thinking of the spectrum of, black cherry, some black fruit and some blue fruit, it's always with that freshness and that vibrancy. And the Pure Paso, for those of you tasting along, the Pure Paso is this beautiful marriage of Cabernet Sauvignon and Petite Syrah, the breakdown being approximately 64% Cabernet Sauvignon, 28% Petite Syrah. Now here's where things get really complex. 5% Petit Verdot, 2% Malbec, and 1% Merlot. So again, being estate grape growers, we have the ability to just, again, dial it in to create the exact food-friendly profile we're looking for. Now, it certainly did not hold us back from the success of this wine that we packaged it in just a very sexy package. The gold script, the red capsule, the simplicity. We wanted to let the fanciful name Pure Paso speak for itself and have J.Lohr be a secondary nod. This wine does really, really well for us. We're very proud of its versatility. We're proud of the story. We're proud of its origins. As a matter of fact, when we celebrated our 40th anniversary 9 years ago, we released a blend that was our 40th anniversary blend that was Cabernet Sauvignon and Petite Syrah. So aged 18 months in French and American oak, 18% new wood, and just a very unique clonal blend. For any of the clonal fans in the group, Ontov Clone 169 Cabernet Sauvignon on a soil profile that Paso Robles is truly well known for. It's calcareous lignocoloto soils with slopes reaching a challenging 25%. So imagine harvesting under those conditions. And again, coming from the warmer Estrella and San Miguel districts, which heat-loving Petite Syrah just blooms in. So that's the J.Lohr Pure Paso proprietary red wine. The last wine in our portfolio is one of my all-time favorites. And when I rejoined our business 22 years ago and was out pouring at events and talking to folks, this is a wine that seems to be everybody's great discovery, because there's not a whole lot of varietal Petite Syrah that's out there, but this wine is just so sumptuous and luxurious. And I find that it's beautiful on its own or with food. And whenever I'm craving a wine to relax with, I always gravitate toward the Tower Road Petite Syrah. Petite Syrah, so we grow this off of Tower Road right there in our vineyards in Paso Robles, on our home ranch vineyard that is, again, just off of Tower Road. Now, in this area, we've got these heavier clay soils, and we have, often just very rare, precipitation and natural irrigation. And part of our secret over time and why you get these delicious flavors is we have been working with a consultant out of France for about 8 vintages now to really understand best practices in irrigation, both for being mindful of water usage, but what's really going to bring about the best flavors. And so we do something called deficit irrigation, which is where we will irrigate for a period of approximately 24 to 48 hours continuously, and then we'll back off. And we oftentimes will not irrigate again for 2 to 3 months, which serves the vines perfectly. We can measure evapotranspiration in the vines and just understand what their needs are. But by mimicking a rainfall event like that, it's truly very, very natural and kind of what, before we had amazing technology, it's what the vines knew. And what this means, once again, for us, and particularly in this delicious wine, is it means just very fruit forward, robust flavors, that deep, deep, almost dark cherry, supple, just sumptuous nose. That deep earthiness, very smooth. Again, tannins that are soft and dense, beautifully integrated, plush, luxurious, and allowing the fruit to speak for itself. So in this winery within a winery, it's only 10-ton open top fermenters where this is crafted with some light punch downs, like the other reds, 18 months in French oak barrels. Now, here's where things get interesting once again. So this is not 100% Petite Syrah, and I don't mind that, but it is 94% Petite Syrah, 3% Grenache Noir, 1% Grenache Blanc, 1% Roussanne, and 1% Viognier. So the beauty of that is that we get these really beautiful, subtle nuances as a result of blending in some of these beautiful Rhone varieties. So this wine is well certified California sustainable, and just a real kind of sleeper in our portfolio, because I find that young people in particular seem to gravitate toward Petite Syrah for its plushness, its mouthfeel, its softness, its versatility, and it's just a really sexy wine on the palate. Tower Road Petite Syrah. So as we wind down our time, I would ask if there are any questions, and then I just want to mention before we conclude our time that one of the beauties of being a family wine growing team is that our sustainability ethos is really characterized not only by environmental stewardship, such as our solar tracking array, which is 3 acres, which we launched in 2009, February. I was there speaking with media, that powers more than 85% of our Paso Robles facility, and is the equivalent of not driving, I think, 93,000 miles or planting 512 acres of trees. But it's everything else that we do, from energy, from wastewater management to economic feasibility. So the reuse of barrels, or investing in a barrel program that we take ownership of, so that we're not buying new barrels and then just selling them off. To, for me, what is most important in my personal world, and that is social equity. So that third E in the 3 E's of sustainability: economic feasibility, environmental stewardship, and social equity. Social equity for me is all about how do we treat our employees and our communities well, to the best of our abilities? How do we provide them with opportunities for education, for scholarships? How do we truly ensure that they have a voice at the table? So everything from I co-lead our DE&I committee with 14 other men and women. And we co-lead because we want everyone to have the opportunity to display leadership, to our J.Lohr Touching Lives program, which is what I started in 2009 after the untimely passing of my mother in 2008 from breast cancer. We ordained the 2005 vintage of the Carol's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon in her honor, created the J.Lohr Touching Lives program, and now and since then, $3 of every bottle, $3 from every bottle sold goes to provide mammograms and patient navigation services and other essential services for women in various stages of their breast cancer journey. And we couldn't be more proud of the ripple effect that this has had across consumers, distributors, accounts. We've donated more than $1 million worth of mammograms and patient navigation services. And most importantly, we've helped raise awareness for the importance of early detection through this campaign. It's called J.Lohr Touching Lives. So for me, the socially equitable piece is incredibly important. It's why I'm moonlighting as a graduate student right now, getting my master's in public administration, so that I can help move the needle for issues of both social justice and climate justice. So for all of your buyers, for all of your guests, they should feel really, really good about purchasing wines from J.Lohr, knowing that behind every bottle is a real family that truly cares about the world, about our communities, about our employees, about resource, and we're in it for the long haul. We're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. So with that, I would love to open it up to questions. Thank you, Alan and Montclair too. So let me answer the first question from Alan. Alan, yes, we are continuing to expand our vineyards in Paso Robles. because we do see the incredibly rich opportunity that exists in Paso Robles. Honestly, land is quite coveted right now because of the explosive interest in Paso Robles. But just last week, Jerry got tipped off to a parcel in Paso that's actually quite large. It's about 250 acres that has some beautiful, beautiful Cabernet Sauvignon growing on it. And so in Jerry's quest to grow our Bordeaux program, particularly there's an opportunity with Hilltop. We will expand in Paso Robles, and we couldn't be more pleased to be able to do so. And Jerry, at age 86, many ask, oh, is he retired? What is he doing now? Jerry is full throttle. He is, each day, every day, and we are all so fortunate to be able to tap into his passion and knowledge on a daily basis. So let's hope he continues for maybe not 86 more years, but at least for a good decade longer. Montclair, hello back to you. I love Virginia. My family gathers in Virginia, and one of my daughters actually lives nearby in DC. So how much wine do we library, particularly the big reds? We have a really robust library program, and that is born of the fact that we have done some great data and analytics on our wine club members, and many join us for our Bordeaux program because that's how we created our reputation, was these just truly delicious reds. So we library enough bottles to hopefully inspire your palate and also that of your guests. So we do on occasion make those available for tastings, particularly in the Paso Robles Cab Collective, as well as for individual purchase. And you will see, for instance, some crop up in online verticals like a Hilltop vertical or others, Signature Cabernet vertical. It's a terrific program, and we're always seeming to craft more wines than we sell for this purpose, because age worthiness is vital to us. We know that Paso Robles is quickly becoming known for superior quality, age-worthy Cabernet and Bordeaux varieties. That's actually the mission behind the Paso Robles Cab Collective. So you can reach out to me or to Doug anytime to inquire about any of those library wines.
A couple observations. I know I opened this up, refreshing everybody's memory that this was a winery featured, not too long ago, certainly not too long in the distant future, but it's amazing how things change, but how they stay the same. One, the wines continue to impress. Super awesome how well they tell the story of what the Central Coast has to offer, both with the sub-AVAs. But the other thing that's very interesting about this is, even though we did this, again, not too long ago, and even though we continue to feature the wines in our stores, we always come away learning a lot more, right? Many of the things that continue to add to the portfolio, many of the initiatives that you guys are doing are inspiring to us, as small business owners as well, to continue to push the envelope. So thank you for that. And thank you for adding to the story that we can now share, with our customers that we have in the stores now, but as we continue to have them come in the stores and learn more about, your family and your brand and everything else as well.
Jeff, thank you so much. And to the entire team, this means so much to us, because as family wine grape growers and winemakers, our story is really very layered and complex, but at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. And it's all about just putting our best foot forward in everything we do. And so for all of you who become ambassadors of J.Lohr, we welcome and covet these opportunities to share our story with you. So I just want to put it all back to you. Thank you, team across your various locations. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak with you. We have incredible resources both on our website, jlohr.com, as well as we have this really robust trade-facing site called trade.jlohr.com. And there you can find videos and tools, everything that you could want to tap into to further tell the J.Lohr story. So I thank all of you for the opportunity. It's such a treat to be with you all today.
Perfect. We appreciate it. I guess one last question that I always ask, because I know somebody will inevitably ask the question, is back open for business for those that want to visit? And if so, how do they go about doing that?
Yes, great question. We are absolutely back open for business, both in San Jose and in Paso Robles. And in Paso Robles in particular, we are doing a wide variety of trade visits, whether it's a VIP visit from any one of you to a larger organized geographic store visit. We can accommodate any and all of you. So to do that, you just need to connect with your area manager, your regional manager, whomever is your usual J.Lohr contact. And we can't wait to welcome you to Paso Robles. If you happen to be in San Jose, we have a more kind of urban setting in our San Jose winery that has all kinds of pop-up events on the weekends and fun pairings. It's a very intimate lounge-like setting, which is perfect for Silicon Valley. We welcome you there as well. So it depends on whether you prefer a more urban experience if you are in San Jose, or if you happen to be doing some explorations in Paso Robles. Paso Robles wine country is unparalleled. We've got everything down there, incredible restaurants, beautiful outdoor venues, fantastic hotels and places to stay. So we welcome you in both locations.
So hypothetically, if we were planning our annual WineStyles store owner convention in Paso, that's something that we could definitely work out. So, well, I appreciate everybody's time. You know, obviously, wine's always over deliver. Make sure for those of you guys that have your favorites, grab them. Tell your store owners, your local store owners, to keep them in stock. Continue to order them. Continue to stock them. They definitely appreciate that, and we definitely appreciate your time. Again, sharing the story, sharing your passion. And thank your family as well for making, one, great wines, but obviously doing it in the right way.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and thanks to you all. Really appreciate your time today as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think that's it for everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Be well.